Thank you, Montessa, for that introduction. We really appreciate the opportunity to be able to share our ASCO experience with everybody tonight. And I guess we'll go ahead and get started with that. We were very fortunate that Live Long had sponsored seven of us to attend the 2025 American Society of Clinical Oncologists Conference in Chicago. And the seven of us that were able to attend was myself and Maida. Also, my husband, he is an advocate as well for screening and research with small cell lung cancer. Maggie McCloskey, Debbie Pickworth, Rosemary Conway, who's here today joining us, Leslie LaChance, and then Glenda Moore. She's part of the Live Lung family, but she was able to attend on an ASCO scholarship that she applied and received. So we brought her into the fold, and Live Long gave us some training ahead of the conference so that we would know exactly, well, not exactly, but have an idea of what to expect because it is intense, to say the least. I wouldn't say there were about 40,000 attendees there. It is all cancers, so it's not just lung cancer, it's every cancer, and the attendees are from around the world. Oncologists, radiologists, advocacy folks, researchers, scientists, pharmaceuticals. It was amazing to see how many people were brought together because of cancer. So, again, this was in Chicago at the McCormick Place, and we were able, go ahead.
It's the McCormick place, not the. Sorry.
We were there, and we're going to go ahead and go over the highlights of the conference pertaining to specifically to small cell lung cancer that we were able to attend in research or be part of. In the conference itself, there's all kinds of different sessions that you can attend, whether it's going to an oral abstract session where they discuss research that has had some breakthroughs throughout the year that they're publishing. And there's also poster sessions, and there's rapid oral extract, and there's all kinds of different sessions that you can attend. So what we're going to talk about first are the oral abstract sessions that were held in the big theater. And one of the first breakthroughs for extended stage small cell lung cancer in the oral abstract session was the introducing the research of lubernecterin and atezolizumab as first-line treatment for extensive stage small cell lung cancer. And these are the primary results of the phase 3 and FORTÉ trial that were presented during this session. And this is in lieu of carboplatin and etoposide along with a immunotherapy. So that was kind of some groundbreaking news that they were able to present to us. And the biggest things from the FORTÉ trial is that it's showing to be very good as far as progression-free survival and the overall survival rate. And they are recommending this as first-line maintenance for extended stage because of the preliminary results of it. There is still more research to be done, but the FORTÉ trial is still going on. And they say that it is going to offer more hope for prolonged survival, including a relapse. So that was awesome.
Oh, yep. And Wendy, look, I was doing that to model to everybody too to raise your hand. But Wendy, were you allowed to ask questions during these sessions? I see the people sitting at the panel. Were audience members allowed to get up and ask questions?
They absolutely were. They also offered integrated on your phone type of an app through the ASCO app. You could actually type in a question if you didn't want to go up to the microphone and ask the question. But and then a lot of times they would do some polling through that app as well at some of the sessions. They would ask the audience a question, and then you could provide feedback that they gave the live poll results right then. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Awesome.
One of the outcomes of the FORTÉ study is they're saying there can be more serious side effects. So if you're offered that treatment, make sure you're keeping in touch with your oncologist every step of the way.
It's a very, very, very good point, Maida. Absolutely. And then I think this one, Maida, you wanted to talk about the phase 3 Delphi study.
Oh, well, really, what I wanted to talk about in terms of tarlatamab was the great news is that it's showing a 40% reduction in deaths from extensive stage small cell. For me, in my mind, this is huge for us. Dr. Eric Singy from MD Anderson gave some presentations. I think Wendy might have a couple of the posters.
Yeah, that's what I'm showing here.
Yeah. Okay. The thing I love about his presentation is that he shows the graphs, the charts that we all see, and Wendy is going to do a great job explaining some of the charts that she's going to present. But he brings things down to a language even I can understand. And those are the doctors that I love being able to talk with.
So with the phase 3 Delphi study, as Maida said, it's just that tarlatamab is doing some awesome things on survival rate. And, the risk of death, it's reducing the risk of death by 40%.
Right.
That's so important, you guys. I mean, this is the hope that we've been looking for, and in the research, they're still bringing on more things that's going past that 40%. And those are the things that we want to hold on to. So that was nice to hear that they're affirming that tarlatamab is the new standard of care in patients with previously treated SCLC. And there was actually a publication in the New England Journal of Medicine that was released at the same time that the ASCO results were being presented, so that the oncology community realizes that this is where, this should be the second line of care when your small cell relapses.
There are also clinical trials with tarlatamab in use for non-small cell. And what they're seeing with some of these tests is a 65% survival rate before surgery with early stage non-small cell. I know we have some people with non-small cell that are joining us tonight. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Perfect. Vaughn raised it.
Yeah, just a very quick question. I'm new to you guys. This is great. I'm so excited to be here. Is that tarlatamab that new immunotherapy from Amgen that just came out at the end of last year?
Yes. Well, actually,
okay, good.
It was last May that it was approved by the FDA. But yes, that's the very first really solid, great way to fight our extensive stage small cell, Vaughn.
Okay.
Vaughn, you might have heard it called Imdeltra.
Oh,
Imdeltra. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Imdeltra.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Another presentation that we attended, and I know that there's several folks on the online groups that have been chatting this drug up, is the Zylab's 1310, which is a antibody-drug conjugate chemotherapy that's targeting DLL3.
Right.
So with tarlatamab, it's an immunotherapy, and MAB is the immunotherapy. And it too is targeting the DLL3 expression in our cancer. So it was nice to see that there was actually now the antibody drug conjugate that was going to go after it as well. So it's a two-part phase 1 study that they presented their information on. And the first phase is the dose escalation, and then part 2 is a randomized dose optimization or expansion. You're getting the drug, you just might get different levels of it. And they had some really good graphs, and I'm not going to pretend to know exactly what everything says in here with this information. But what you look for when they do present their results is this nice little waterfall shape of the data, and the ZL 1310 did have that very nice waterfall shape. and they're having very good response rates with the folks that are in the study. Now, there's not a whole lot of people in the study, but of the people that are in it, they are having very positive responses, and that was exciting. So the as of the cutoff for the reporting in January of 2025, they had 28 patients enrolled. They're getting a response rate, objective responses of 68%, so 19 of the 28, and have a durable control rate of 93%. So not only are they shrinking on 68, but they're staying stable of the 93%. And that's amazing. Also, those with brain metastases had an 80% response rate and a 100% durable control rate. So these are the things we're looking at with these trials is what's working, how much higher can we get past, a percentage of what's approved now, and are the people able to handle this and tolerate the effects of the medicine? I see Carol has raised her hand.
Hi, this is her daughter. We're both watching it. My name's Lisa. My mom started tarlatamab
Tarlatamab.
in May, and she just got another dose today, actually. But in her last MRI, they found two tiny spots of the brain metastasizing again.
Mhm.
So you're saying that the tarlatamab does have a chance?
So what we've understood as far as tarlatamab crossing the blood-brain barrier, it does do that. And what they're saying of the ZL-1310 is that it's crossing the blood-brain barrier as well.
I think to answer Lisa's question, there are some people who don't respond exactly the way we would hope they would. But your mom's just having her second dose, did you say?
So she had the 3 doses in May, the first
okay.
2 with the hospital stay. So
Okay.
the starter dose and then the 10 milligram in the hospital. And then the third dose with 6 hours observation in the infusion center. And then she's had 2 more since then.
Okay, so you understanding that we are not medical specialists, that we're
Yes.
just volunteer advocates
Yes.
living with this disease. And so, yeah, every single response is not going to be exactly what we're hoping for, but your mom's not in a position where she should give up hope yet. It's a rocky road, and there are ups and downs. But my advice would be, as a patient, to stay the course for now. And if you have trust in your oncology team, that's really important. If you have serious questions, you need to reach out to your team. It will bring you some degree of relief talking to them.
I did ask him about the blood-brain barrier, and he said that it doesn't necessarily surpass it, but the immune system cells will.
Right. And
And
that's
then-
one of the I think that's one of the purposes, to wake up your own immune system. I mean, we need more treatments that are particularly doing that, reminding our immune systems to stay awake and fight the cancer cells.
Yeah. Thank you so much for.
And Kat, I was just wondering, did your mom, will they keep her on the drug even though there was just a little tiny bit of progression in her brain? Did they say they'll continue it or discontinue it?
They are continuing it now. Her scans actually to see if the drug is effective is in August. This was just her brain scans are on a different schedule than the rest of the body.
Yeah. Okay. I was just curious.
And Lisa,
you.
what a great time, as you saw how many slides Wendy had and how many slides for, this is what I've been waiting for in all my years of advocacy, is for small cell lung cancer patients to have options,
Right.
being plural with treatment. And I saw Lynn's hand, her real hand raised up.
Exactly. I just wanted to jump in and piggyback on something that Maida said earlier that I'm really excited about for y'all. These are patient advocates who attended these sessions. They are not medical professionals. However, we do have the incredible Dr. Neil Reddy, who is he is a small cell specialist at Duke Cancer Institute. He is going to be speaking at our July 9th meeting. It's earlier than our usual meetings in terms of the timing of the month. It's on a Wednesday, July the 9th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. He is going to dive much deeper, and he will be able to answer a lot of your questions regarding the efficacy of the drugs and what their capabilities are and so forth. But just know that this is kind of like a taste, a taste test. You're taste testing this. So, so do know though, mark your calendar for July the 9th, and I'll even put the registration link in the chat if you want to make sure you get that.
Yes.
That's all.
Thank you. Thank you, Lynn.
Can I, Wendy, throw in just one more idea or thought I have?
Mm-hmm.
Or actually, I guess I can wait until you start going through more of the posters you have.
Okay.
I'll wait.
So look at that, Maida. We're going into the poster sessions. That was a great segue. So, but yes, that was an exciting part of the ASCO conference, is where you get a lot of the details of studies and the results and what they're finding from the researchers directly. And you have the opportunity to talk and interact with them and ask those questions of, what is this data telling me, and why are you studying that, and what can we expect, and how soon will it be available? So the poster sessions were really cool. Even though you had the opportunity in the oral abstracts to talk and ask questions, this was a little less formal, I guess, and you're face to face, and it's just poster after poster after poster after poster. So I found this to be really cool in the presentations. And so the few of them that we're going to talk about, I think I'll have Maida talk about first, is the implementation of tarlatamab for the treatment of small cell center using an outpatient care program. Then there's a few more posters that we found very interesting with small cell lung cancer that we can go ahead and get into. But Maida, do you want to go ahead and talk about that? Was the Emory University.
Right. That was Dr. Sen, Triparna Sen, and any of you who were at the Small Cell Summit in early May, I think she was there. Wasn't she there, Lynn?
Oh, she was at the MHC one.
Right.
This is one that Elda sent us over to.
Right. But she's a really remarkable doctor and researcher. One thing that really hit me, and I think it was Emory, was I was speaking to a researcher who's been doing a study on the possibility of limiting hospital stays for people on tarlatamab. And I thought that was a great study until this last week. I spoke with someone at a different meeting who said she's a caregiver, and her husband's cancer center does not keep anyone overnight after getting tarlatamab. And that really upset her, because then the burden falls completely to her to make sure she is able to speak with someone at the cancer center if she sees that her husband's having some, extreme side effects. So I guess for me, it just reminds me that we have to look at everything from every which way we can. But the whole idea of this T-cell engager, this is one of it, as Wendy has said, as we all have agreed, that the implementation of tarlatamab, also known as Imdelltra, has been a game changer. And I have problems sometimes with these detailed posters. So for me personally, it's very meaningful to be able to speak to these people. And you'd be amazed. You walk up to these researchers and they see on our name badges that we're cancer survivors. And as soon as I talked about being a 7-year extensive stage small cell survivor, I was getting hugged by every researcher. And let me tell you, it's such a wonderful feeling for me and for them. They need to see our faces and hear our voices, right? Because we give them the impetus to keep going. We show them, look at what your research is doing for me and us.
So I guess they were looking at their ECOG scores before they said they were able to still receive the treatment as an outpatient?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you've got that right.
Okay.
But again, I'm not a scientist, so.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just curious, because there later on, the conclusions, it says that some of the toxicity, but they still need it monitoring. I'd love to see that study too. I might go research. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I just wanted to comment to Maida as well that you two ladies are inspiration for us that have extensive stage as well, small cell, because you give us hope, really. Like when I walked into this last July, I don't know how I was feeling. I know I wasn't all depressed. I was probably still in shock. But the first person was one of the first people I was introduced to was Maida, and I was just shocked. It's like, oh, okay, you're one of the ones out there making the survival rate long, and adding to that very short survival rate that some of us are given when we're first diagnosed. So I think you guys are darned warriors, and you should be at those meetings, and they should be hugging you.
Well, thank you, Gina. The main reason I've become a vocal advocate, and I post a lot on social media. Unfortunately, most of us are seeing each other's postings, but we still keep reaching out, is to give people hope. Because if you Google, how long am I going to live with extensive or even limited stage small cell lung cancer, most of those percentages are outdated, but most of them will tell you, 6 months to 2 years. And we're here to tell you that we've known many people who, look at Montessa. 18 years, 19 years, Montessa has been here, sharing her story, giving incredible hope. She was one of the first people to give me hope. When I heard that she had been surviving so long, I thought, okay, my number's not up. So, Gina, keep coming to these meetings and we're going to keep giving you hope.
I am. I've had a rough few months that if there's time at this meeting, I'll cover it. But if not, I'll come to the next one. But yeah, I had a chemotoxicity and everything. So gamma knife surgery. So I just kind of been keeping to myself. But I'll get into that another day.
Okay. Well, we want you to be able to feel safe enough to talk to us about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I do.
For sure. Okay, I don't see any more hands right now, but I guess the next poster, this one was kind of near and dear to me because this was this is the pharmaceutical and the drug that I'm taking, the obrixtamig, but they're adding topotecan, which is a older chemotherapy that's been used for small cell lung cancer in the past, not so much in recent. But there are some folks that are getting the topotecan. But that I was asking the researcher, of course I had to go up there. It's like, well, I'm on a Brixton and I'm doing really good. But why topotecan? And it just boils down to they're looking for a longer durable response.
Yeah.
And if they can add something to a drug that's showing a great response that gets it even greater, then that's what they're going to do. So the Abrixtamig, it is just like the tarlatamab. It's a bi T cell engager, BiTE therapy, and it's targeting the DLL3 expression. It connects to the CD3 portion of your T cell. And then that links up with the DLL3 on the cancer, and it makes that T cell recognize it and say, "Oh, you shouldn't be here," and kill it. So It's yeah, it's wonderful. So it's showing good efficacy. They're going to keep this in the trial. There's the nice waterfall again presentation of durability and objective response rate. So that was nice to be able to talk to the researcher. And
Wendy,
yes,
you need to tell them your part.
well, that's on the next slide.
Oh, okay.
That's on the next slide. But that's okay. But while I was there, my oncologist actually showed up. And it was nice to be able to connect with him at the meeting as well. I saw him actually 2 times that day and the next day. And in speaking with him the next day, I was asking him questions of the presentations that I saw and you know how that might relate to my treatment. And he just told me, he said, "Get ready for crazy." And I said, "I'm all about crazy." So at least at least there are other things if something stops.
Right.
There are other things that we can try. And that's the hope.
And Wendy, as somebody who's, done clinical trials and now you get to see your own study presented, did you feel like for anybody, that wants to try a clinical trial, did you feel like this information on the slide was accurately presented to you like before you started the trial? And that did you see any of yourself in this?
So this actually adds the topotecan, which is not what I'm on.
Oh, okay.
But that's okay. That's okay. But they actually shared with me the abstract of the trial that I was on so that I could understand where things were going. A lot of times they don't necessarily do that, but they knew that I was asking the questions and I had the knowledge from being at these meetings and wanting to know the efficacy and the durability of it. They're like, well, we can share this with you. So that's nice to have that because with each one of these posters or each one of the oral presentations, there's always an abstract, just, a quick summary of what the trial involves, how they tested it, how many were part of it, and then what the conclusions are. So, with this, the conclusion is that the adverse effects, that's something else that they're looking for too. And severity reported were within the expected safety of treatment for us because this is some pretty bad stuff that they're putting in our bodies. But having that combining the two together shows the combination is encouraging and indicated that the improvement that the risk is well worth the reward, basically. So that was kind of cool on that. And then maybe I think this is what you were alluding to that when they sent us over to the first poster that we talked about, the Emory University, the very next poster right beside it was this one, and that's on the cataloging the genomic and transcriptomic features of relapsed small cell lung cancer. And what caught my eye is that it was done at Washington University in St. Louis, and that's where I'm being treated. And what else caught my eye was that my doctor is listed here, and that there's also in conjunction with Duke Cancer Institute. And all of a sudden, I'm reading all of this, and I'm like, what they did is they took pre-treated biopsy tumors, compared them to post-treated biopsy tumors from the same patients in order to determine what was causing the relapse. What was different? What was different in that tumor? What expressions did it have before any platinum-based chemo? And what it looked like after you had the platinum-based chemo. This study was done at the time where my pre-treatment tumor was taken. And then when I relapsed before I went on my first clinical trial, they took another biopsy. So that's post-treatment. And I'm getting chills right now, you guys, because I'm part of this study.
It's fantastic.
And it's making a difference because what they're doing with this, the conclusions that they're looking at the genomics, they're trying to find what's broken in us and to target the therapies to what broke. There's targeted therapies on the non-small cell side, but we don't have a whole lot because we don't have those biomarkers. And this is leading that this type of study is leading them to try to find that. So that just it was meant to be. I was meant to be there. I was sent over to that poster. This poster was right next to it. And then that next day when I talked to my oncologist, I said, I'm pretty sure I'm part of that study. And he goes, it's very possible, Wendy. He said, I sent samples. So I fit the time frame. But the other thing that was really cool too is they sent it over to Duke University and with Live Lung at the small cell conference, we visited the Duke lab twice. So I'm pretty sure there's a mouse running around Duke University with my tumor, and they're studying this. So that was my big aha of the ASCO conference for sure. And then this is the Turpana poster, Maida, and where she's taking a lot of that data and unveiling the drivers of the MHC regression and therapeutic strategies to counter immune invasion in small cell lung cancer. So she's looking at that kind of data, what's broken and what do we need to concentrate our focus on in order to be able to target that therapy because the plasticity of small cell it changes and we can hit it with the platinum and the etoposide and then it'll get resistant to that and you hit it with something else and it changes and gets resistant to that because it's cloaking itself. So she's doing some fantastic things trying to break that down and figure out what it is that needs to be targeted.
Just to throw out there, the first picture you guys saw was me with Dr. Misty Shields, and many of us know her pretty well. Between her and Dr. Sen and Dr. Sands and Dr. Singhi and Wendy's oncologist, and most of us feel like our oncologist is the best. We are so fortunate that we have so many researchers and oncologists fighting to find better ways to keep us alive. So I get kind of emotional when I think about all these people I'm getting to know pretty well.
Absolutely.
They're wonderful.
Yeah. So
I just wanted to, sorry, I just wanted to share one thing on that note, because I too have, I believe that the way that Dr. Sands, especially in Misty, who they've been very supportive. My mom almost didn't go in for her second dose of the tarlatamab, and Dr. Sands, I had him on speakerphone, and he was calling to try and very gently, have her just trust the process. She was in tears. I was in tears. He just sat there on the phone. And I could tell he was just caring and hurting for my mom because she was just so tired. She had a tough reaction the first time, and it seemed like because she stayed a whole 5 nights instead. So all of a sudden she's got to go back. And he sat there on that phone and talked and she doesn't trust many people. My mom's a tough cookie, and he just had that caring tone, which is why I fought so hard to get in to see him, to have her be with him. And that just speaks to, like you said, the caring of the right oncologist, because we did not have that, the first oncologist at all.
Well, I really hope that at some point that you and your mom will get the hugs that he has to give, because when he saw me at ASCO, he looked up and realized it was me, because we did a media satellite tour last spring. Was it last spring or was it last year? No, it was whatever. And I could see in his eyes, he had this thought, oh my God, she's still alive. And gave me just such a wonderful, warm smile that you're right. He's amazing. But Misty is the same.
She's great.
Karna, they care, you guys. these
She
are,
checks in all the time and asks how mom's doing. Misty does on
excellent,
chat. We
excellent.
talk almost not every day, but like she's a busy woman, and I am so grateful to even hear that she's checking in. And with you guys here, I couldn't be doing all that I'm doing. So I just wanted to chime in on that because I'm feeling what you said.
Excellent.
Very lucky. So those were there were a lot more posters, you guys, and there's no way that we could cover all of them, but these were some of the ones that really kind of stood out to us. Either we knew who the researcher was, or there was a personal connection to it, or we're just, very much an advocate for the drugs and how well they're doing.
Now I'm really excited. Were these all in one? Was the small cell posters all in one section, or are they?
Yes. Yes, you didn't.
Wow.
You didn't have to struggle to figure out where they were.
Wow. Okay.
Even though there were, I don't know, Wendy, Lynn, thousands of posters. At least it seemed like it.
Well, it rotated every day.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that. Yeah.
But they did somewhat. Lung cancer was like you had your non-small cell section and you had your small cell section, but there were aisles. And there were posters on both sides, and they were big aisles.
Yeah. Oh, and I had a scooter. Thank you, Lynn, very much, and live long. I could never have made it at all without the scooter. But I had to be very careful not to start knocking people down, because when we say 40,000 people, that's such a vast number that it's hard to actually picture it. And they try to put these, give enough space between the standing posters for a lot of people to keep moving. But with that many people, it was amazing. But I just want to throw out something that isn't as important as the rest of this, but Lynn and Wendy know that it matters to me. That when I took the time to go over where the companies had set up booths, not pharmaceutical companies, but others, I was really impressed to see that there are some companies who are working on developing tools to teach our oncologists how to speak to us after treatments. And we've talked about that before. Many of us have also heard from Stacy Wentworth, Dr. Wentworth, who has made that one of her goals to, as an oncologist, I think she's an oncologist, to teach the medical community how to actually listen to us post-treatment. I'm fortunate. My doctor will give me as much time as I need to talk about whatever I need to talk about. But not all oncologists are like that. So I was impressed with that. I never expected to see that at ASCO.
Well, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that was it. That was in the main exhibit hall,
right, yes.
I guess is what you would call that.
Yes.
And all that you had different advocacy groups. Live Long was there. You had your different pharmaceuticals, your different companies that were all related to cancer care. But it gave us an opportunity in there to, network with folks and learn more information about their study therapies with the different pharmaceuticals, and also with the different organizations that are advocates for lung cancer. Allowed us to go ahead and foster more partnerships between our advocacy groups and some of the pharmaceuticals or companies that were available. And then just ultimately, again, they get to hear from us. And this picture here with the AbbVie booth, that was the first clinical trial that I was on. And the lady in the black dress that I am standing next to, all the people in the picture are part of specifically their lung research team. But the lady in the black dress is the scientist researcher that developed the AbbVie 706 drug that I was on for 10 months. That shrunk my tumor in my left lung by 70% before it started getting a volume increase, and kept it stable, kept it from spreading. So she just wanted to hear how I was doing. She was so happy to see me. She wanted to thank me for participating in that to prove that the drug did work in humans. And that's so important that they get that feedback because normally they don't.
Right.
In a study, you are not you're anonymous to them. And the only way they can hear from you is if you reach out to them directly. So, and that doesn't happen very often. So that was very uplifting. And again, the hugs, like Maida talked about, the true, we're making a difference in somebody's life. They know they are because they see the results, but to actually see that person and put a face to it for them was just wonderful.
If I could just, when it comes to pharmaceuticals, throw in there's Dr. Sands. If I can just throw in another quick comment that I spoke to a couple of the pharmaceutical company reps, and Merck was someone who asked two different people wanted to talk to me. And so, of course, they're doing great things for non-small cell. And my whole spiel was, okay, now get working on, I said non-small cell, right? Get working on small cell. And it wasn't just them. And interestingly enough, at each of the pharmaceutical companies, when I stopped to talk to people, they asked to take a picture with me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's more ammunition for us to give them, look what's happening because of all these great new treatments. Now, keep them coming.
Absolutely, without a doubt. I mean, overall, like, there's Maida with Dr. Sands, and that's myself and my husband Larry with my Dr. Morgenstern, and going and talking to the different pharmaceuticals. BI, that's the Abrixtamig pharmaceutical of what I'm on. So we were able to personalize this without a doubt, and talk to those people that are making that difference in our lives. And then to absorb it, and I'm still absorbing everything from the conference. There was so much, but then to be able to share it with everyone here, it was such a blessing that we were given to have this experience. And hopefully that this continues on through Live Long, and I would encourage everybody that would like to participate to apply for it.
Well, at least to keep the option open to apply.
Yes.
And to encourage these more companies to help make it possible. Because that was an expensive proposition, and without the support of pharmaceutical companies who have been so good to Live Long through Lynn and Dusty's hard work, there's no guarantee that Live Long will be able to do it again next year, but Wendy and I, and probably Rosemary and the other people who were there, certainly hope that the opportunity will exist. And we only want to encourage you, if it comes up, if you suddenly see early next spring or late winter that, hey, there's an application here to become an ASCO scholar, that you give it serious thought. Not to mention that lovely Lynn is willing to arrange for a scooter, because McCormick Place is not just freezing, so bring warm clothes for when you're indoor, but it's enormous.
Yes,
but
that's
again,
an understatement.
Yeah. Thank you so much to Live Long, not just to Lynn, but also to Dusty, and the opportunity you gave us. We appreciate it enormously.
Absolutely.
And we get emotional, right, Wendy? I mean,
definitely.
It's hard to be stoic about this. This is so personal to each and every one of us, all of us in this group.
Yes. And what I guess we really didn't emphasize though too was the camaraderie that we had with the other scholars
that
attended, and the ability to just, talk about what we learned and talk about advocacy and
laugh. We did a lot of laughing together.
Absolutely. So just to have that, thank you. Thank you so much for giving us that opportunity.